Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on Mike Premier Business Radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. Appreciate you being here with me. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, The Choice 105.3, and as well as International Business Code Radio. Today we're coming to you from Classic Rock. It's appropriate that we're talking classic rock here. I got the one and only Jill Chickowitz is here with us. I'm covering it up. So Jill, step up to the front there.
Sorry, my
All righty. So really quickly,
Yeah.
Jill Chickowitz, tell us who you are and what you do, because you don't roll solo. You have an all-star crew who came with you.
Yes.
All righty. Tell us who you are.
So I'm Jill Chickowitz, president and founder of the nonprofit To End the Stigma, and we are here promoting our 6th annual A Night for Scott fundraiser, February 18th at Hilton Short Pump.
How is it the year 6? And you are one of the top ones in the top nonprofits and events in the community already.
Yes.
That's because you're everywhere.
Yes. Well, we have a big support in the community, and I can't do it alone. So I think that's why I think more and more people are getting affected by substance use disorder, and it's opening eyes and raising awareness in our community.
There's a lot of buzz going on around it. So you brought the all-star crew here with you.
I did.
You did. All righty. So I was here. I was a little late, as they say in church. I'd be remiss. I didn't want to have to pull out. I'm going to go see the sheriff. Because I don't know if that one would have worked. Yeah, right. No, I'm really going to see Sheriff Leonard. Okay, but who you got with you today?
So you guys know Channel 8 is our corporate sponsor. They have been with us since day one. Huge supporters, always helping us out. Deanna Albritton is here.
There you go,
Channel 8.
anchor in the evening.
She's always the MC. She runs the red carpet. She does an awesome job talking to the guests, promoting, and just making sure that energy and vibe is good.
You were really new to Richmond when you came last year, weren't you?
So not last year, but the year before.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
The fourth annual Night for Scott, I think it was just
Yes,
a
it was.
weekend.
Yeah, I
at
had
our
just
event.
moved here, and
Yeah.
so
Okay,
my
so that
very
wasn't-
my very first weekend was the 4th annual Night for Scott.
Yes.
And it was the first event that I went to
Yes.
in Richmond.
We just met her and we're like,
yeah.
come on,
But
Yeah.
come on.
So Deanna Albritton, she is an anchor, but she is a journalist. That's what her card says. That's what the
Yes.
credentials say. All right, real quickly, tell about ABC.
All right, so 8 News, ABC affiliate in town. We are very proud to and honored to work with Jill and to end the stigma again, because this cause is really important to us as much as we can. We even work with Sheriff Leonard to do stories about what he's doing, not only at the jail, but what others are doing in Chesterfield County and some of the other areas. We actually have a reporter who's working on a couple of things right now that are in the pipeline. So we're really honored to work with them on this, because it's something that really impacts our community, and that's a lot of what our work is about. It's about public service and being a voice for the voiceless. And there are so many people who maybe wouldn't reach out to us or feel comfortable telling their stories, and what they're able to do is connect us with people who maybe just need a little push to be able to speak to more people about how this is affecting them and to really be a light to others.
There you go. All right, Deanna Albritton. She is with the 8 News team. Congratulations.
And we have our commercial rolling on Channel 8
Yes,
right now.
yes.
You haven't seen it.
Trying to speak a little
Oh
French.
my gosh, everybody's so lively, it's full of color, and they're like, she's amazing, she's fluent.
I don't know about that. Did I practice
But you
though?
get it done.
Did I find a
She
YouTube
did a
video?
good job. I know. She did a great job.
There you go. ABC is always really committed to the community. All righty. Next up, we got the dapper gentleman in the back. That is Sheriff Carl Leonard. Not only is he the sheriff, but he's also a TV star.
Yes,
Yes, he is. All right. So, Sheriff, you invited me to come over to the jail. You had an outstanding program there. Tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name is Carl Leonard. I'm sheriff over at Chesterfield County, and one of the things we do in our jail is called the HEART program, helping addicts recover progressively. Started out as a heroin addiction recovery program, but we've expanded it to include all drugs, including
That's
alcohol.
what heart means.
Yes,
yes.
that's what HEART means.
Oh, I'm a sharp one. I am a sharp.
And now, of course, we include alcoholism as well. But it's an issue that really came center front probably in 2015. So we're talking 8 years now, and I don't know if people know of many problems they've had in their life where 8 years later, after getting a ton of resources to help you with the problem, identifying the cause of the problem, and everything being thrown at the problem. I don't know if anybody's ever known a problem where after 8 years, the problem's gotten worse.
Right.
And this problem has gotten worse. Last year, 107,000 people in this country died of overdoses. And it's frustrating. And we continue to fight this battle every day, and we keep seeing the losses mount year upon year. 107,000 is unacceptable. You know, one is unacceptable. And I keep saying, what is the magic number that we have to reach before this becomes the center of attention for our nation? You know, do 200,000 people have to die? 250,000? What is that magic number? Obviously, 107,000 isn't enough. But we're still fighting this issue. People are still struggling with substance use disorder. People are still dying with it because of the presence of fentanyl in everything we have today. Fentanyl is in your marijuana, your crack, your cocaine. Fentanyl is everything. And people go straight to fentanyl as well. So the more we can do to help people get into long-term recovery, which our program strives to do, the better we are in transitioning people to that life of recovery. One of the biggest challenges they have is getting back into the community and that stigma that will haunt them the rest of their lives.
To end
the stigma.
the stigma.
Which is why this is very important. You know, Jill's really put a lot of heart and soul into this. It is called To End the Stigma, because as much as you want to get into long-term recovery, as long as you keep hitting those walls of stigma, you're going to fail. So what we can do to break those walls down at every turn is going to help more people get into long-term recovery. That's why I love this charity. I love what Jill does day in and day out. And that's why I'm going to be their supporter for Night for Scott.
And you're right there at the forefront of being their supporter. All right, very quickly, tell the listeners about the your TV show.
Well, it was, yes.
Hey.
It's called Jailhouse Redemption. It was a Discovery Plus 4-part documentary series on the HARP program in Chesterfield County. It's currently off the air because Warner Brothers has bought out Discovery. We're waiting for Warner Brothers to re-platform it. We think it's going to be on HBO Plus, but it's called Jailhouse Redemption. It really was an inside look at the world of addiction and the pathway to recovery. We gave them total access so they could really show the raw reality of this disease. And it had some very good responses after
We've
that.
had some great responses. The buzz at the street. Chris Winslow was here. He couldn't stop. He was just ready to explode because he was so excited to talk about it.
Oh, it's neat to have a Discovery Channel documentary of your program get released internationally, and to see this program get worldwide exposure to what we're doing to help people struggling with addiction. It's humbling, very humbling.
All righty, Sheriff, Jill, you guys are here. You're having the event. It is a night for Scott.
Yes.
All righty. So you brought your keynote speaker.
Yes.
All righty. Man, would you step up, say, we have to bring it to the front. You're like me. We have to be in the front. Because if we're towards the back,
Nobody goes see
they can't see us. Okay, so really quickly, tell us who you are and how you fit in. Wait a second. I should have Jill. I'm not a trained journalist MC type. So
Hey,
Jill,
I'm not either.
so Jill, all righty, so Jill, come on up and tell
Okay,
who we are and what we're doing here.
so we are doing the 6th annual A Night for Scott fundraiser in honor of my twin brother Scott that we lost to fentanyl poisoning. I've always said accidental overdose, but I've now learned the terminology is fentanyl poisoning. So we talk about the dangers and raise awareness on that. It's at Hilton Short Pump, February 18th, Mardi Gras Casino night. All of my lovely guests are going to be here. Libby Roberts. Libby, I get choked up when I talk about Libby because I originally saw her on a Facebook Live with Sheriff Leonard and Delegate Carrie Coiner. I was really just talking about addiction. And when she started speaking, I literally felt like I was hanging on to every word that she said because I'm going to get choked up. She humanized the disease. She made me understand the struggle that my brother was in. She made me look at the person and the disease, and just a light bulb went off. Whatever it was, all of a sudden it was this aha moment, and I knew I had to meet her. And you know me, I just reach out to people and ask them.
Really?
So
Jill, I got this great program. Want to
I
get
went to her immediately after the Facebook, and I said, I want to talk to you. And I think I maybe went to lunch or something. And then ever since, she's been working with
Next
us.
thing you know, you're in the mix. All right,
She is.
Libby, the program is yours. Welcome, congratulations. Tell us here, give us some words of wisdom and some nuggets of knowledge, please.
words of wisdom. You probably barking up the wrong tree,
No,
but
trust me, if I ask it, that's what I hear here.
so I am lucky enough to work with Jill with Two in the Stigma, because I believe that educating the general public, educating the youth in the community is one of the most important things that we can do. You can't fight something when you don't know how to fight it. I'm a person in long-term recovery of substance use disorder. I lived in active addiction for over 25 years. I was addicted to opiates, benzos, crack cocaine, alcohol. You know, pretty much if you put it in front of me and you turned your head long enough, it was probably going to be gone. I've been in recovery just under 5 years now. I was lucky enough to be arrested and put in Chesterfield County Jail at one point. I was in the HEART program for a time. But so what I do now is now I work for an organization called Project Recover. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist.
Oh, yeah, I've talked to him. The guy who runs, is he a musician?
I don't think so.
Could be, maybe
Uh-uh.
side hustle.
Yeah, it could be
So
a side
where are
hustle.
you guys based out of?
So we're based out of Richmond. I'm partnered with Richmond Ambulance Authority, and I have coworkers who are partnered with Richmond Police Department, Chesterfield Police Department, Hanover Sheriff's Department, and the Bon Secours emergency rooms. And what I do is I go out in the community. I ride with Richmond Ambulance Authority responding to opiate overdoses and trying to
That's
get
where I've seen
resources
you before.
to people who are currently struggling. We also help the family, friends, and loved ones of those individuals because substance use disorder is a family disease. It's a community disease. And so we need to not just support the individual struggling, but also the family members and loved ones.
When you talk to people, is it easier because you've been in their shoes,
It gives me an
the
advantage,
street cred?
a little bit,
Because they're
because
gonna look at other people like, you don't know what I'm going through.
and I'm gonna tell you, I know exactly what you're going through. I used to live in those woods. I used to eat out of that dumpster. I used to do all of the things that you're doing. And what I'm telling you is that when you're ready, you can make some changes and you can do things differently. Because I know because I've done it. I'm doing it every day. I make a choice to do it. So yeah.
When people or they've just started on the road to recovery, talk about who they need to be around for success. Because a lot of times you kind of go back to whatever it is, you kind of go with what you're used to and what you're comfortable with, and maybe that's what got you in trouble.
So one of the things that you learn is that the only thing you have to change is everything. You have to change your people,
I
you
never
have to
heard that.
change
Really
your
good.
places,
Yeah,
and you have to change the things.
That's scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
It's terrifying because we live in the same environment with the same people doing the same things. And you alienate and isolate yourself from anyone else who lives a different type of life. And so you decide to change, right? You decide you want to try recovery and you don't have anybody. So the most important thing for me was developing a support network. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to build that foundation in the HEART program. I have several people who are individuals that help me with accountability, right? You have to change it all. If you go to a barbershop, right, and you sit down, you stay there long enough, you will get a haircut.
Mhm.
So if you're trying to recover, but you're continuing to associate with individuals who are not ready to make that change,
Some shadiness is not happening.
they will get you sick before you get them better. So
Okay.
dropping
good.
a nugget.
Yeah,
we can hashtag this.
that's a good thing. So when you started recovery, when was it? And I know for people who are not, you always hear taking it one day at a time. When was the day that thing you're going, okay, I think I might be okay with this?
the day that I decided that I wanted to give recovery a shot,
And then the day you realize, okay, I might be able to beat this thing.
I have not had that realization yet. I make that choice every day. I make the choice to live a life of recovery every day and sometimes I make it 50 times in a day because life is hard. And I still struggle with being, a functioning, productive member of society.
Yeah.
For me, that day came on April 14th of 2018 when I attempted suicide and failed again. I injected enough heroin, it should have killed me.
Maybe it wasn't your time to leave.
Well, that was the realization on
Maybe
the
that's
15th.
because you were going to be here talking to people today.
And absolutely, when I woke up April 15th, I was devastated.
Why were you devastated? Because you were still here?
Yeah,
It's like, man,
because I felt like God didn't want me and I didn't want me and the devil didn't want me. And what do I do? What do I do? I can't live like this anymore. I'm tired. I'm exhausted and I'm a failure at killing myself. What do I do?
So when you're in the jail, how do you get to the heart program? We're gonna talk about, because the sheriff is over there, he's gonna be low key on it. How'd you get there, and what'd you get from being there and seeing the energy?
So I got there because I overdosed at one point and I caught a possession charge from that. I was arrested on a capias and I was taken to the jail and they asked if I wanted to go to HARP. The intake, the HARP officer came down, asked if I wanted to come up to the program and I said, yes, please, please. I had a lot of behavioral issues. I was perhaps not the well put together individual you see in front of you today, but that's or some of them. So I was only there for about a month before I just my behaviors were all over the place. And you know, they have rules. They have rules for a reason. And but while I was there, I got to see people that I had been in active use with actively trying to recover.
Okay.
And that it planted like that little seed inside me. I didn't believe I could do it yet, but
Here you are.
maybe if they could do it, maybe I could try.
Okay, so Libby's here with us. She is going to be the keynote speaker, the star of the night, A Night for Scott. Jill, when is that event?
It is February 18th at Hilton Short Pump from 6 to 10 p.m. I will say tickets are selling very fast. A lot of the tables.
Get the tickets, people.
Yeah,
I mean,
so go to twointhestigma.org. So the number 2, I will say most of the tables have been sponsored, so get them while they're hot, and it's gonna be a great night.
So WRIC they're your people.
They are my people.
They're your people.
Yeah.
And so you got Deanna Britton is here with us. Talk about what it means to have that partnership deal with WRIC.
Well, I always tell everybody we're better together. There's power in numbers. When I initially had this idea, which was 6 years ago, I cannot believe it's been 6 years. I went to Sheriff Leonard. I kind of just started going to people that I knew that were in the community that cared and wanted to make that, you know, they had passion for it. Sheriff Leonard actually pretty much connected me with Channel 8 and Larry Cottrell over there because he knew that they would support the mission, and they have never faltered in the 6 years. They have stayed strong with me.
All righty, February
18th, 6
February
to
18th,
10 p.m.
6
Hilton
to
Short
10
Pump.
p.m. We're and this is a year-round crusade. This is a movement.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
go from A Night for Scott, and then you'll take 15 minutes off,
Yeah.
and then you'll be back on it for Fairways.
Well, we started at Two in the Stigma Community Day last year, so we had it in July, but we may do it in September for Recovery Month. But we've recently partnered with VCU's Rams in Recovery. That's where some of the proceeds are going, as well as the Chesterfield Recovery Academy. We have a calling towards youth and adolescent and getting early education and prevention.
Jill Chikowitz, that's my partner. She's out there, totally making a difference. Deanna, WRC is totally community minded.
Yes.
And you've been in other organizations. Talk about what that means. And it's something when the media shows up.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just Deanna showing up. You know, it's the whole
The
shebang.
whole, the
And
crew.
people, we don't think
Yes.
you're real. We can see you on TV.
Yes.
We can see you on TV delivering the news to us. You know, you talk a little. Hey, shout out to Heather and the folks over there after 4 p.m.
Yes, yes, the new 4 p.m. show.
Eric and
yeah.
Heather Hope.
Yes, yeah, and it gives us, having, another hour of news gives us an opportunity to showcase even more of the community, do more positively Richmond stories. But I think one of the key things that you just kind of hit on with Jill about being a media sponsor is that what we kind of do is twofold. It's not just bring attention to the event, but attention to the cause. And we're really clear about that. So like when, before Fairways for Scott, I was interviewing a woman that Jill connected me with, right? That can help promote the event itself, but also it's just continually bringing awareness to the issue itself. It's something that is obviously very important for the station. It's something I'm pretty invested in. Jill and I've talked a little bit about this. I grew up in Southern Ohio, Southwestern Ohio. It's been rough there for a while. I had not even made it a year out of high school before I went to my first memorial for someone I graduated with, who died from an opioid overdose. So it is, but it was almost normal. Like it became expected, honestly. And these are in whether you were in a more affluent suburb, it didn't matter.
Okay.
And it's been that way for a while. And being here and seeing the work that's being done here, on the one hand, it makes me kind of sad that these kind of opportunities weren't available, 15 years ago, but
Yeah.
also it makes me really hopeful. Like if this is what we're doing now, imagine what we'll be doing in 10 or 15 more years, now that people are more aware, now that the comments section has changed. I mean, 10 years ago, when I was at a station that would do stories about people with addiction, oh, the comments were awful. I mean, and still sometimes they can be, but they're less so. Part of it is just that it's impacting more people. But also people have a better understanding. We are
Yeah.
ending the stigma. People are able to have a better conversation around this, and that is a huge step in the right direction.
All righty, we'd like to thank you guys. Sheriff, anything new and exciting that people need to know about?
I need you to do me a favor,
All
Mike.
righty.
Uh-oh.
When you find out those 15 minutes that she's gonna take a break, let me know when those 15 minutes are. Because I've yet to see Jill take a minute off from doing this. It's her passion. It's needed in this community. The problem with having my program in the jail is you have to get to my jail to get to the program.
Yeah.
And, we can't arrest our way out of this disease. There need to be more resources in our communities. They need to be accessible 24 hours a day, easily accessible for when that person needs help. And that's the issue here. You talked about the program, you talked to Libby about it. The person has to be ready to get into recovery, but when they're ready, we have to be ready to help them at that minute.
Yeah.
So we need more programs in our community. What Jill is doing is bringing those programs to the forefront, making this a reality, and really appreciate everything she does and everybody does to help her with her cause.
There you go. On the Mike, that's what we do. We bring the game changers, the best and the brightest. We'd like to thank everyone for coming in. As I said, Jill Chickowitz, she is out there, the chief cheerleader for making things happen. She's everywhere. Like you said, and she'll just show up. You don't realize what you're getting when she shows up.
I just told her that because our team, we actually just voted her on to serve on our board now. So I said, you're locked in with me now.
It's no question.
And the Energizer Bunny energy, it's
contagious.
it's-
We start doing
yeah.
it
Thank
together.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Brittany, I can't believe that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was almost a young man back in those days.
Yeah.
Not really. Not really. On the mic, Mike King here. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network. We're coming to you today from Classic Rock. I'll be back in my ESPN studios very soon. We are moving, so that's why we're here hanging out at the Classic Rock. So you can follow me on all social platforms. On the Mike RVA, Mike King Biz. That's who we are. We'd like to thank our sponsors and advertisers. Because I always say the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids need stuff. So make sure you check them out and support them, because that is why we're on the air. Last year we donated 24,000 minutes of free airtime to nonprofits. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks now. Take care.